All right, guys, I got to blow the whistle again, open another page from Payne's Investment Playbook. Now, as someone that loves the theater of politics, there's nothing better than the pomp and the circumstances of the State of the Union address. But after all the backslapping and the applause, it's really, let's face it, just a selling tool for the standing president. So we're going to hear a lot of self-congratulations tonight, and it will sound like a fairy tale for some of you guys. Maybe a country you don't live in your minds, the real state of the union is completely different. Now, we just had a Fox News poll. 64% of people said that the nation is still in recession. Now, the good news, it's down from 75% or 86% in 2010, but certainly not the stuff of victory laps. And then there's a Pew poll, if you guys like a variety of polls, even more dire. 55% say they are falling behind, not moving ahead, falling behind. And then a Wall Street Journal NBC poll, they asked people, describe the country. Divided, troubled, deteriorating. These are your top three. How many said strong? 3%. That's scary, shocking stuff. And finally, bank rate. They asked people, hey, if you had a $1,000 emergency, how would you pay for it? How could you get the money? Only 38% of Americans said they can get it from their savings account. All right, guys, so this brings us to our next real deal poll. Listen, surveys say one thing and the actual data says another. Where do you think the economy stands? You kind of talked about it a little bit, though, but with respect to, we're hearing some of these, the numbers are shifting. Even the bad numbers are better than they were a year ago, a few years ago. But when did we really see the reality of that? Because, again, you could argue that all the pieces have been in place for wages to go higher a year ago, for the quality of jobs to morph a year ago. And still, every time we get these numbers, there's a lot of buts in those,
Look, there's no question that the politicians have really slowed the economy, and we should have been much further along than we are. But wages are a lagging indicator. They always come last. We see the lower level service jobs come first, then the mid-level skills, and then the skills that require a college education. And those are coming. You can't be creating 200,000 new jobs every month without having some pressure on wages going up. Wages will go up, but they will always lag the economy. You're going to see the economy go up first before you see these wages.
What do you make of it, Hillary?
I worry about wages. I really do believe that outsourcing and the lack of innovation and the fact that where we have had growth, like data mining, cybersecurity, they're not labor intensive. So I am concerned, and the State of the Union address is going to be very important tonight, because what we need to hear, we're not going to hear, unfortunately, which
what
is
do we need to hear?
We need tax cuts. We need corporate tax cuts, and we need these companies with billions of dollars abroad to be able to bring it back tax-free and put that money to work, building factories and building research labs.
But taxes will be mentioned a few times tonight, Scotty. Trump's won't be behind it, but certainly the word tax.
And you talk about the market, what actually affected the market today. To be honest with you, while you want to sit there and say there were outside influences, the truth is we started to hear what the president was going to say tonight, and that he was going to start to be raising taxes on the middle to upper class. And so that started to come out. And I think that might have had some effect.
That was out yesterday.
But to the truth, to what Paul said, the only thing that I have to say is you can't sit there and look at history, because right now we're dealing with a business environment unlike any before with our health care plan. Businesses are incentivized to have part-time employees, to hire new people, and not necessarily encourage growth amongst the ones they already have. That's something like we've never had before within the environment that we live today.
Keith, you saw those three when people were asked to describe the nation. I mean, maybe we're in this perpetual state of woe or self-pity, but when you see the top three descriptions, so scary, deteriorating, just falling apart, what does that tell you, though?
I think we need to see, we've been saying this forever, but we need to see some sort of change, but it's not happening. But I think, again, it needs to come in the form of wage growth and job hiring. That's where it needs to come. And to be honest, you look at other parts of the world, people are able to sustain themselves on $2,000 a year. I think in some senses, we may have to just pull our bootstraps up and kind of...
So in other words, stop whining.
A little bit, maybe.
Heath's message of the day, stop whining.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that these tax hikes are certainly the wrong way to go, and I think it's a terrible waste of an opportunity. But we're going to cover, in fact, Neil Cavuto, he's going to have more on the economics of this whole thing and everything else associated with the State of the Union right here on Fox Business. Remember, nobody covers this better than Neil. His coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We do take a lot of things for granted. Even analysts don't highlight peace. I'm talking about global peace in their models. It doesn't feel like it. It's a very peaceful time in the history of mankind, and it can make you a lot of money. I'll explain in 3 minutes.